If I could go back to my younger, ambitious self and give her one piece of advice about how high achieving women actually think, here's what I would tell her. Winning women aren't louder. They're not the most talented, but they do one thing that most women were never taught. They've built a mental framework that never collapses under pressure. And I had to learn that the hard way. Welcome to part 1 of my 5-part series on the mindset of successful women, particularly the mental patterns. In this video, I'm breaking down the identity blueprint that every woman must master so that your outer strategy, which includes your presence, your words, your positioning, can actually work, can actually attract the life that you want it to attract. This isn't just about confidence. This is about mental programming. This is a way for you to rewire the way you think and start to put your future in a better position. Truth is, no style, no strategy, no speaking technique will land until you stop negotiating your value. When I first started stepping into rooms that were bigger than my comfort zone, I was technically prepared. I had the resume, I had the work ethic, I had all the preparation, the skills, the voice that I needed. However, mentally, I was fragile. I would second guess myself. I would question my own capabilities. As a matter of fact, I felt I was too young. I was unsure. I felt I wasn't prepared to take up space, to take power, especially in rooms where I saw these kinds of women occupy. And honestly, I was right. But not in the way I thought. I was right about this. I didn't yet know how to think like a woman who always wins. And that was clear in the way I carried myself, in the way I entered rooms, in the way that I presented my ideas. Now, here is what I wish I knew. Women who always win aren't negotiating with themselves. They're not negotiating with their values. They're not negotiating with their voice. They've already made a decision. And that decision is, I belong here because I'm building here. They're not waiting for permission. They've positioned their minds to lead. They've trained themselves to interpret rejection into redirection. So whether you say no to them, whether you have said they can't achieve something, they have already trained themselves to know that regardless of the number of no's they get, they will keep thriving, keep working hard, keep pushing themselves in different angles, trying different approach to achieve their goals. You see, when I realized this, I realized that success, achieving success in life, whether it's in your business, in your career, in a project that you're working on, or in building or designing the life that you want, it's not about the number of rejections that you have. It's about what you have built within yourself to believe. Another thing I wish I knew early on is that women who win don't wait to be invited. A lot of times we wait for permission. We wait for someone to give us the go-ahead to do what we want to do. We wait for people to applaud us or to acknowledge us or to validate something that you are working on. However, high-level women do something quite different. They design the room, they design the role, they design the outcome. So if you're not inviting them into the room, if you don't think that they're qualified for that job, for that opportunity, what they do differently is create the opportunity for themselves. No matter how small you think it is, no matter how slow you think they have to crawl to get there, they design the opportunity for themselves. And that's why you see some women, even when you tell them no, you haven't defeated them. You have not broken them. You've only given them the drive, the courage to look for other ways to achieve the goals they want to achieve. And learning that really opened my mind to a lot of things. As women, if only we can believe more in ourselves, regardless of the number of rejections we have, the number of failures you go through in life, believe in your capabilities, believe in your potential, and keep building that thing that you have within you. Because the more you work in yourself, the more you improve on the areas where you are either failing or the areas that needs improvement, and the more you work on those areas, the more you get better. And all of this begins with your mindset. Because if you don't believe you are the architect of your future, you are the architect of your life, you will always default to being a guest. So working on your mindset, building your mental capacity, believing in your worth and value as a woman will not only open the door for you, it will help empower you to face whatever situation that comes your way. You get to design your life, your role, and the outcomes that you want out of life. And when I realized this, I had to rewire my relationship with rejection. I had to start to teach myself to build my mental capacity, to reprogram how I made decisions, and stop tying my worth to people's comfort. The moment you master your mental programming, the moment you work on your mental capacity, your mental strength, you stop being shaken and you start being seen. You stop questioning your worth and capabilities, and you start showing up in rooms that you deserve to be in. When you work on your mental power, it shows in all part of your body. It shows in how you move, how you speak, how you respond to situations. The woman who always wins isn't perfect. She isn't always polished, but she is mentally committed. Now, I want you to remember this. Building your mental strength is the first step to becoming the kind of woman that makes rooms remember her. Because when you are mentally strong, you are able to represent yourself in the way that makes you proud. If this has resonated with you, you might want to watch my next video. This is where I will show you the most common mental mistakes that high potential women make and how it makes you small. But now you know where to begin. Not with your clothes, not with your voice, not with your resume, but with your mind. And if this hit home, share it with a woman who needs to stop waiting for permission and start thinking like a woman who always wins. I'll see you in the next video.